I just did a video on Sweetie and Quavo, and I really started that video with saying how unfortunate it is. It seems like every time you look up, somebody's getting cheated on. Uh, but of course, that was a dating relationship and not a marriage. But now the focus is on Derrick Jaxn and his wife. So, for those that don't know, Derrick Jaxn is one of uh, a select few guys, black men out here who have built a platform off of essentially relationship advice, more geared toward black women. And um, I haven't consumed a lot of the content that he's put out, but I've consumed some of it. And from what I've observed, it's been good for the most part. It's been stuff that helps women get insight on when they're dealing with trash men, which I think is helpful. I do think men need to call that stuff out when they see it. So a prime example of something that he would talk about is he would say, "Hey, ladies, if you're in a relationship and the guy's cheating on you, and then when you say you're going to leave him, he sends you text messages about uh, how he's going to hurt himself if you leave to guilt you into staying. Don't fall for it." He does stuff like that to help women navigate through situations where men are BSing or full of it, and not to get wrapped around someone's finger or be played, basically. So I've seen that and thought, well, that's helpful, to put out that information. And I know what has necessitated that. The responsibility is twofold, but in all honesty, we know that a lot of black women are out here trying to figure out black men and understand what the problem is, why relationships aren't working out, why do some men cheat, some women feel all men cheat. There's a need there that's being met by a lot of influencers speaking to black women specifically on how to navigate relationships. So that's cool, that's fine, that's dandy. I also know that he has a lot of critics. Derrick Jaxn, I mean, has a lot of critics, and most of them are men from what's called the manosphere, which is like a community online that's geared toward, I would say, relationship advice for men specifically. And the critique that Derrick Jaxn has gotten is that he's a simp. And I feel like I'm explaining a lot of terms here, but a simp is basically a guy that is pandering to women, basically putting out stuff that women just want to hear, but not being, I guess, consistent or thorough in what's being represented. So, in my experience, I haven't seen what Derrick Jaxn has done as simping. I've just seen it as giving women insight, and I know that it's a challenge to the men that are crappy, manipulating women, don't have much to offer, but want all this from women. I could see how they would get frustrated by Derrick's content because it challenges men to do better and also challenges women to not lower their standards. But if you meet the standard, you're not really tripping off of his content. But I don't think it's right for people that don't meet the standard to try to get women to lower the standard to accommodate them or to just call him a simp. From what I see, him just trying to give women insight. I don't know the totality of it. You may see something I don't see, but I'm not here to defend him. But my concern with the Derrick Jaxn situation is he has been exposed for cheating on his wife, and he recently went live and posted a video as well with his wife to apologize to her and admit to the cheating, even though much of his content is about not cheating and how to find a good man and so on and so forth. So I know obviously people are looking at that as he's hypocritical. I do think when your actions are out of step with what you're portraying, that is hypocritical. But I zoom in a bit more on this idea of the manosphere and content creators online that are gearing more content to men. And I think that it would seem as though the king of all that now is a guy named Kevin Samuels. My concern with this is that people are going to use Derrick's shortcomings to undercut his message, when in actuality, we need to examine the content of the message regardless of what the messenger did. Is what he's saying true or is it false? Is it helpful or is it hurtful? And in my observation, the things that he's offered have been helpful. This isn't an excuse for what he did. What I'm saying is I'm not nitpicking through the cheating and all that stuff. I'm focusing on the message. And from what I can tell, I'm free, I'm open to, receive a critique, whoever knows this stuff better than me. But from what I've observed, he's just challenged women to uphold their standards, not settle for a crappy guy. And he's gotten flack from men who think that he's pandering. The critique that I'd like to offer is one, specifically, I think of those that follow Kevin Samuels' content.
I'm Olivia Morgan, intake coordinator here at the Whole Brother Mission. I'm here to pass on a little information about how you can join us in helping men in need seek licensed professional counselors nationwide. Number 1, ask. Ask if your employer participates in matching donations. Many employers will match your gift to a nonprofit. We are a 501c3, so all gifts are tax deductible. Number 2, pass. Pass this video as well as our website on to others so that they are aware of our services and our need of support. And number 3, give. If you're able to, please consider giving. The proceeds remove barriers for men seeing a culturally competent mental health professional, and they support our upcoming HBCU book tour. Thank you for your time.
I was not familiar with Kevin Samuels until the viral clip where he told the woman that she was average at best after rating herself. When I look back at that, I have quite a few opinions about that viral video, but overall, I just want to make it clear I'm not against any particular content creator. I think a lot of stuff that Kevin has said has been helpful, but I do know that people have their critiques of him as well. But he is growing in influence, and even some celebrities are starting to post his content. And in all honesty, the only reason I'm familiar with him beyond the viral video is that many guys are consuming that content in droves and sharing it. I have personally become overwhelmed with Kevin Samuels' content because of male friends either constantly sharing it on social media. Kevin Samuels has even penetrated my barbershop, the conversation about him, to where there was a conversation in the shop where a guy was talking about his brother and how his brother's been tripping, so much so to people in their friend group are coming to him asking, is your brother okay? His brother regularly shares Kevin Samuels content and does these long, extensive posts about women. Some would say he's just bashing women. And it's gotten to a point where those around him are like, what's wrong with you? You say you want a relationship, you're a straight man looking to be with a woman, yet all you do is bash women all day long. I can speak to it. I know married men that claim to be in happy relationships that regularly share that type of content and just talk trash about hypothetical women. And there are a few things that I think I didn't want to touch on this manosphere, Kevin Samuels concept just yet, but I think the Derrick Jaxn issue has necessitated it because I can already see what the response will be. See, you shouldn't have listened to any of the stuff Derrick Jaxn was saying. It all is crap because he was cheating on his wife. And while I don't want to endorse cheating on his wife, from what I've seen, the message has been helpful, helping women to be vigilant about dealing with deceitful, self-serving, narcissistic men. As someone who works with Black families, I'm constantly shown examples of toxic relationship dynamics that our women fall prey to. So I'm all for exposing that toxicity. I don't want to cover for it. I don't want to cover for toxic men. I don't want to encourage negative behaviors. I want to call that stuff out. And I think that's what real men should do. And my concern is that his message, the positive things that he was sharing, are going to be thrown away by those that want a certain other approach to be the standard. And once again, I'm not going to be critical of Kevin Samuels in particular, but I do think I've been overwhelmed with the implications of the content. I understand that he gears his message toward speaking on behalf of high value men to women, but the people that I see sharing the content are not the high value men that he speaks of in terms of what he says it means to be a high value man. These are men that are not high value, who, from what I can tell, are jaded, in many cases bitter toward women, whether they're in happy relationships now or not. They're online using their platform to talk trash about women and to bash women and to air grievances. Now, I don't want to dismiss anyone's grievances. If you've been through some crappy relationships and women have done you dirty, I'm sorry to hear that. But the issue becomes, how helpful is it for you to constantly berate, tear down, and talk negatively about women? Uh, is that helpful for us? I would say it's not getting us anywhere in terms of the community. And there's a better way. As a CEO of an organization that's dedicated to connecting Black men with mental health services, I understand the emotional aspect that is evident here. And I think that a lot of the people that are venting about women, and you probably have this too, where you see men just sharing this type of content and talking trash about women all day, these men need therapy. And that's not an insult. I don't think therapy is an insult. I think it's a resource to help you process through things in a healthy way rather than berating women online. Hypothetical women, that is, because no one's tagging these women. No one's saying my ex and her name was such and such did this. It's just general statements about women. There's a way to have that conversation, and some of the things I've seen haven't been helpful. I'm not trying to run away from the conversation. I just think there's a better way to have it. And I would also offer it's an interesting aspect here to where some would say that Derrick Jaxn's message shouldn't be considered because he was only saying what women want to hear to get women. And some could argue that was true because he was cheating on his wife. But that same standard, if applied to Kevin Samuels' content or others, what would that mean there? If Derrick is quote unquote bashing men in order to get women, then what would that mean for the other content creators? Are they bashing women to get men? If that's the standard, that's something to look into. But overall, I think it's important. Don't dismiss the message if it's valid. You need to, in your personal life, receive critiques if the shoe fits. I said a while ago, a crackhead could share some truth with you. A crackhead could tell you a liar, tell you that you're a liar. And if you do be out here lying, it don't matter what that crackhead does on his personal time or what title is given to him because of his addiction or her addiction. What they said is true. So we have to be realistic about the fact that people can share truthful messages and have shortcomings. So my focus is not Derrick Jaxn the person. My focus is the message. Let's not throw away this idea. The ideas and themes that I got from some of his content that I've consumed is treat women well. Don't be a liar. Be honest about your intentions. Have some wisdom in how you date. He includes a lot of biblical principles in that for those that subscribe to that. It overall, from what I can see, hasn't been something we need to throw away completely. It's actually something that'll be helpful in terms of mending relationships between Black women and men. But the other extreme that I see from a lot of the manosphere content has become this culture of just trying to humble women. Frustrated men, and this not everybody, I'm just saying what I've seen. Men that are frustrated with their relationships with women, failed relationships, been taken advantage of, been considered the last resort guy, going online to vent about that and to humble women and tell them to accept less than what they would like. That is a concerning dynamic that I see. Black men getting on the internet to try to humble women. And in reality, if you're good in your situation, then go be good in your situation. Why spend all your energy trying to humble hypothetical women? If your goal is to show yourself as available to women generally, how helpful is it to bash them generally on the internet? Some people don't recognize that they're saying they want women of a certain caliber, whatever the case may be, but their profile online is actually turning women off. And this, once again, this is not to say we can't have hard conversations, right? I'm all for having hard conversations. There's some critiques that Black women need to hear and take it and receive it. There's some critiques that Black men need to hear. So let's have healthy conversations as Black people. But I do have some concern with some of the content as far as that, what the implications are on the ground, what's happening in counseling and in therapy, and what's happening in the barbershop, what's happening interpersonally. It's kind of adding fuel to a fire and not helping restore healthy communication between Black women and men. So I want to push that, and As you probably already know, I have a resource dedicated toward that. So for those that want to get to a point of not humbling women or men, not ishing on anybody, but actually just trying to have healthy dynamics in your romantic and in your friendship relationships, consider Whole Brother, Debunking the Myth to Break the Black Family. Most of my content's geared towards men, and the Whole Brother Mission is a nationwide nonprofit connecting black men with counselors. So our focus is black men, and the resource Whole Brother, the Whole Brother book, deals with ideas of black male masculinity and identity, and how if we have misguided notions about these things, they end up breaking up black families. So that's something to look into, specifically how we view and how we treat black women.